Okay, welcome to another video. This time we're in WICSO. As you can see, Rome is back at their territorial peak around like episode 8, I think. Island. So, yeah, Rome just spontaneously came back. A couple things that need to be assumed. First of all, everybody inside of it doesn't want to break away, because otherwise it would just immediately collapse. And also, you need to assume that it still has like modern technology. Without those two things, this video would be pretty boring. So yeah. Also, I'm recording this on Friday the 10th, which is the day before episode 86 comes out. But this will probably be published after 86 comes out. So if anything really major happens there, then I'm sorry. I think 86 is the next episode. I'm not sure. But anyway, so Rome is back. I think I might have like thickened them up over here a little bit just because they had this land for a while too, so decided to give it to them. It's not like I'm bringing them back from a specific point of time, even though I based it off their episode 8 lands. Seeing little weird pockets. I'll keep that. But yeah. So before the world really even has a chance to react, the first thing they're going to do is go after two weaker countries, Switzerland and what's left of France. So France's capital is right here, so with a surprise attack, it's captured within a couple days. And then from there, in anarchy, the entire country starts getting flooded. And the brown team is going to actually go after France as well. And that's because they know that Rome's going to take it all, so they're just kind of going in here to try and stabilize it and try and secure as much as possible. So their quote unquote invasion goes pretty well because they're meeting like no resistance while Rome was meeting a lot. But it's just going to end here. So for the peace treaty, it's going to get about split down the middle. Just like this. So yeah, this was just the brown team's attempt to try and secure as much French land as possible. They don't want Rome to get it. But now Rome's going to do the same exact thing up here in Switzerland, I guess. So they take both major cities. From there, they already almost have the entire country, so the brown team's just not going to decide to not waste their time. And Switzerland is fully annexed by Rome. So all in all, it's been about like 3 weeks. So now the world is actually, able to fully react to what's going on. Basically, the AN steps in and they say that Rome, as long as they don't start a world war or invade any, as long as they don't start a world war or do anything like humanitarian related, like genocides, then they're going to be fine with them. But they should probably stop expanding, or else they might step in anyway. So Rome is going to stop for now, and the world is actually going to be peaceful again for a couple years or two. A couple years or two. It doesn't really make sense. But one thing that's going to happen is that a lot of these neighboring countries are pretty unhappy that they lost land, or they are still pretty scared of Rome. So we're going to see the brown team create the Anti-Roman Defense League. I'm sure you can figure out what that is. Anyway, they're going to join. So is Germany, Greece, oh, yeah, Greece, Andalusia, and Galicia. Some other countries considered joining, but they ended up not because, like for example, Ireland, they aren't really directly threatened by Rome. So yeah. But anyway, with that, after a couple years go by, Rome and the Farmers Union teaming up are going to decide to take their chances, and they're going to invade Bulgaria. I guess that's what you would call this. But anyway, Rome storms in and takes their capital. Then up here, our old ally, I think I'm pretty bad at like remembering the WICSO lore, but I remember that these two are allies, definitely. But what just happened? But yeah, the Farmers Union in Rome together push in here, and they use the power of friendship to win this war. Hooray! But anyway, it goes pretty well. I mean, definitely harder than the first two wars, but first two wars, but There's also 2 countries invading this time, so they're actually just gonna claim what they claimed in the war, I guess. As you can see, the Greek border looks terrible, but yeah, they're just gonna have to live with that. So basically, they took their chances here because the AN said that they would definitely get involved if they started any like really major conflicts or did anything humanitarian. But they also just warned them that they probably should stop expanding or else they still might get involved anyway. And as you can see, Rome did not start any major conflict, and they are treating the citizens pretty well. So they decided it would be worth the risk of possible AN involvement. Obviously, the anti-Rome League is going to kind of push for this, but narrowly, fairly narrowly at least, I'd say like 65-35% of the AN members are going to decide not to give Rome any consequences other than maybe some sanctions. I think that's what those are. I'm just now realizing that these capitals aren't even like pure yellow, or the cities. I've never noticed this about this map, but these are not pure yellow, they're slightly off-colored. That's annoying. So is the red team. They aren't pure red. The blue team's not pure blue. It's just, that's annoying. But anyway, yeah. And that's it. I mean, that's not it for the video, obviously. But, so yeah. Anti-Roman League is pretty upsetty spaghetti. They aren't too happy. Hi, Malta. That, Rome just invaded this country without any consequences. So, they are going to do something that's slightly controversial, and they are going to invade this country. Now, why would they do this? Well, it's kind of the same reasoning that the brown team had over here for France. Basically, they want to make sure that Rome can't get this land to become more powerful, because obviously a lot of these countries really do not like Rome. But anyway, Germany, on the German border, troops pour in pretty quickly, and Rome is going to say, like, hey, AN, they're invading this country, can we? And the AN tells them, well, the AN tells them both to stop, but Anti-Roman League is not going to stop. But the thing is, they actually expect Rome and the Farmers Union to step in and try and get some of this land, but they actually don't. So this is pretty confusing at first, but will be explained soon, because well, Rome and the Farmers Union know that Anne's not going to like this, so they, since they know that Anne's not going to like this, they think that this will help them like win over the support of the Anne over the anti-Roman League, because now they're invading an innocent country. I mean, so did they. They invaded like 3, but they could also just use this claim that they had like for 2 of those. Well, okay, for France, you could say that the brown team also invaded it. So obviously, it's still not like the AN probably still likes the anti-Roman League more, but it's a little bit less biased now. But anyway, for the peace treaty in this war, we see Germany taking a decent chunk of land out of here, including the capital. Give it some more land around that capital. I mean, not that capital, that city. I keep calling capitals. I keep calling cities capitals this video. By the way, as for the rest of this, its new capital is going to be down here. It has a completely new government setup that is very pro anti-Roman League, so they are going to go ahead and join the anti-Roman League. That not happen. But so what Rome's gonna do is that they're gonna form the Roman League. I know. That's too big. Let's go with that. So, yes. It's them and the Farmers Union, obviously. They ask some other countries. They go to Poland, but Poland actually declines. They're too occupied with not getting invaded by Russia, along with Ukraine. The only other country that joins is kind of surprising, but it's going to be Anatolia/Crete. And that's because they don't really like Greece, because, they took all of this land, and, like, even though that was from their fascist government, the citizens here still think that they should have kept this land. It's got a new government, but obviously Greece is not giving that back to them. So they're still pretty mad at Greece. So that's why they joined, because it's a common enemy. Anyway, if we look over here at the Farmers Union, you're going to see that some Bulgarian rebels are stepping up. So these rebels just form along here, and they assume that these guys aren't going to be very strong, and so they just go ahead and they take this land, and then the Farmers Union send down their troops. They make a little bit of progress, but then they're kicked back, and they capture this major city. So they're a little confused on how they're this strong, especially as they now send down their entire military, which helps even it out a little bit, but at this point the orange team is still, like, almost winning. Like, if we were to go on like this, the Farmers Union would probably win, but like it would actually be pretty close. So Rome is going to have to get directly involved and declare war on the rebels, I guess. And with that, they're able to, after a surprisingly difficult war, push them out and defeat them. But still, they're very suspicious about how this happened and how they're that strong. So they run an investigation with the leaders of the rebellion, probably do some terrible things to them in interrogation rooms. Eventually, they find out that they were being supported by Greece. So, yeah. Well, let me not make it that color. Now, they're invading Greece. So, obviously, that should, what's it called, activate the Anti-Roman League. But what they're going to do here is that they're going to try and explain their way out of this. They're going to say that, hey, the AN just tried to completely overthrow the government of our closest ally here. That's not, I mean, not the AN. The Anti-Roman League just tried to, called the ALR. The ALR just tried to overthrow the government of our closest ally. So it's only fair that we should be able to give them some consequences. Especially since our old pal Crete down here is also kind of in debt. They're kind of in debt to our old pal Greece down here. I mean, Crete. And Anne's actually going to support this. And so now the Anti-Roman League is very angry at this. And yeah, they're going to also declare war. So, yes, that's probably not very surprising, but it's, yeah. So pretty much literally every anti-Roman League country is going to start sending their troops down into Roman territory, hoping to take back some of their land that they lost, and also, especially for the brown team, get rid of Rome again. I mean, I don't like the brown team, but I do feel kind of bad for them in this timeline because they have to keep stomping out Rome like 5 different times. You know, this entire video is just because Rome died in episode 85 or episode 84, whatever the end of World War V is. They died. That was very sad, so I need to make this to cope. But anyway, Galatia and Lucia also get in on this. I think I'm saying that right. Andalusia. I only know that word because of WICSO, and I was like down here, this region. But anyway, we look over here. Poor Greece is getting absolutely destroyed. Rome pretty quickly sent down a very large division of troops down here that took their capital. There's still a decent amount of people going up through here, as well as this is where the Farmers Union is focusing pretty much all of their troops. They are, however, sending some up here to try and hold back the, I don't know what you would call these guys, Czechs, I guess, Austrians. I'll say Austria's like here roughly, I think. So yeah, we'll call them Austrians. Yeah, they try and hold back Austrians as much as they can. But of course, Crete is also going through here, and that actually goes surprisingly well. Greece severely underestimated them. Farmers Union is now going to, with the help of Crete troops, they are now going to take all of this Thrace, I don't know. It's spelt Thrace, but I think it's pronounced Thrace. It could be wrong on that, though. But yeah, they take all this area. Rome is then going to send out another division over here that takes this entire coast, then wrap around. And Greece is now just some, like, mountain people, so it falls over pretty quickly. So that went very well for them, but it's not been going so great in the rest of everywhere, with these guys doing that, and these guys doing that, these guys doing the most of all, doing this. So yeah, they move in here to where the French capital was, and they're met with open arms. France is pretty much very anti-Roman. I mean, what's left, obviously, like I said, the land that came back with the land that was in Rome when Rome came back, that's like converted to being Roman somehow. But the land that they took over right after the video started, that's still very anti-Roman, so there's very little resistance. And maybe worst of all is over here in Iberia. It's pretty much the entire peninsula is claimed. Well, I mean, pretty much all of Andalusia's half of the peninsula is claimed, while Galicia still does pretty good up here, taking some major cities. But now they're going to be able to redirect their troops, also with the help of Crete, try and hold back these front lines. So while the Austrians were doing this, trying to connect up to their coast, they only got to about here when a big bunch of these troops now came up and surprise attacked them and destroyed all their equipment. That's what it's called. And with that, they're taken very off guard and really have like no resistance. They try and redirect. They were also doing invasion up here, but now they try and redirect some of those troops. Instead, just hold the front line right at the gates of this major city. But pretty quick, well, not pretty quickly. It's a pretty tough battle, but the Farmers Union reclaims it. And now, just push in here a little, takes that capital. They still, even though they lost their capital, they're still doing decent over here. Over in like Western Europe, we see that Germany gets pushed back a little bit over here as Rome reclaims these two major cities. But that's because they're focusing a lot of troops over here to try and help out the brown team. Basically, their plan here is to go all the way down to the coast, and then go to the capital, and then the rest of Italy, and then hopefully the government should fall. So yeah, that's their plan. Because of that, their invasion here slows down, but they are still winning over here. Rome also does, however, make some pushes back against Andalusia and Galicia, including this major city, though they are not quite able to take this one back. Over here, this country's front line finally collapses, and Rome is now able to help out the Farmers Union in their invasion up here. As it goes like this, and pretty quickly, the rest of the country collapses since there's no more major cities. They also completely push out Germany from this section and start to push into German territory, taking this major city and these two for the Farmers Union. But over here, they are fighting a pretty intense battle over here, with the Dutch and German troops meeting this major city down here. Rome sent a lot of troops over here, probably the bloodiest battle of the war, but eventually the brown team is going to come out on top, and now they begin their plan of moving down here to the coast. This also severs Rome in two, so now this entire section is going to start to crumble. They kind of just branch out here and try and take as many major cities as possible. The troops that are left over here, though, are mostly focusing in on Iberia, but hearing this news after they get to about here, they're going to retreat to try and fight back the Dutch and Germans. Speaking of the Germans, they are focusing a little too much on the offensive, as they are being completely steamrolled in their own country, with several major cities falling, and their capital is even start to be put under danger, as you can see. This major city also falls. Over here, the Dutch team is focusing most of their troops down here. Pretty tough, but they're pretty tough battles, but they are going to take like all of this coast, which obviously is pretty bad for Rome. They also captured Corsica, and now they meet the capital of Rome, which I assume this is called Rome. Over here, the troops that were retreating actually do a pretty good job at taking back this territory. Pretty much take it back like what was over here. They take back like what they got from France at the start of the video, just not like this little bit which they had to reclaim afterwards. They also fight a pretty bloody battle to get the capital. There's still a little foothold over here, and they also managed to retake this little thing. Fighting over here has pretty much completely stalled. Well, I mean, not stalled as in there's no more fighting, but as in it's at a stalemate. No real progress is being made on either side, just a lot of death. Over here, the Iberians are now starting to once again pick up speed on their invasion. This time with Galicia arguably doing better. And Illusoria is able to still take all these islands, which is great for them, I guess. And now we go back over to Germany, where maybe unsurprisingly their capital has been claimed, well as this major city. And now there's an encirclement made of the few troops that they have up here. Now they start to basically their plan is here, even if they themselves like get knocked out of the war, obviously their team is still gonna win, so that they'll not die. So what most of their troops are actually like down over here fighting in this front line right here, or over in what's it called, Iberia, helping out these guys. I don't know why I just selected the ocean, but anyway, the Dutch team makes a small little thing up here, but eventually after just like getting a buffer zone so that they don't get invaded themselves, we're going to start focusing down here again, though in the meantime they have lost some land now, just barely holding on to this major city. Over here, the poor farmer union troops are getting absolutely like exhausted because look at how far they went, but they actually managed to reach all the way up here to the Baltic Sea. Rome does much of the same, though their invasion here is kind of slowed. They just made sure to capture this major city and take this. As they now focus more down here, as now they pushed out most of this German-controlled area. And also try and cut off the supply line here, but the Dutch have made a pretty secure, tough, whatever words you want to use. I've used tough too many times in this video. And I don't even mean it like the slang term, I mean actually tough. But they have their their supply line runs through all these major cities, so it's actually like pretty strong. I mean, maybe it's not like that. It might just be like this. Over here in Iberia, the two countries are Galicia and Andalusia. They are working together to pretty much just reclaim the entire Iberian Peninsula, and that goes pretty well. Over here, Germany is going to lose Corsica, but they don't really care that much. And instead, they're going to start one very big assault over here on the Roman capital, which after another very bloody battle, they're going to lose. And eventually this entire whole thing just kind of crumbles up, with them now just barely holding on to this major city. But that does still mean that Rome is severed in two. With that, they're going to start their next plan is that they're just going to reclaim all of this. Pretty much most of the Roman troops here in this section have either retreated back to the mainland, that helped them win back this area, or just on the border here. That number is definitely thinning out as more are retreating and more are dying. So, with the help of the Iberians, the Dutch team is going to manage to completely take out this half of Rome. As they now look like this. Germany, well, rest in peace. Yeah, their entire government dissolved. This became anarchy. It really was not that hard of a war. These guys just kind of walked on in and took it all. The Dutch team is going to be able to stabilize some of this land, though. This isn't even them invading it. It's just like the more stable land around here. But anyway, we can now see that there's one very unified front line here. So, Rome is going to begin to push back into this coast, hoping to take back all of their land and then push up into the Dutch team and save Iberia for last. They make some more gains over here, taking this land, as well as this major city. And yeah. So, them the Roman League is now going to send in one very big invasion over here, which goes very well. I guess it's not really an invasion, it's a reclaiming. But yeah, this is very bad for these three guys. So the Dutch team is pretty mad about this. And what they're going to go ahead and do is that they're going to start like bombing major cities of Rome and killing a lot of innocent civilians. So the AN is going to be pretty mad at them for this. They aren't like they aren't like invading them, but they're like, dude, that's really not cool. And some AN members are going to kind of agree with this, but some are going to come to the support of Rome, of the Dutch team, I mean. So we see Ireland, not that. We see Ireland join in on the square team. We see, nope. Why is that not going away? Oh, okay. We see Poland join in on the blue team. Or blue team, the circle team. Prussia and Denmark for the squares. We see. Whoa, this is surprisingly difficult. We see this Anatolian country on the square team, and this one for the circles. Then this is going to extend even further, as in the chaos, Russia is now going to start invading Poland, which kind of automatically puts them in there, and automatically that creates this, alliance between Poland and Ukraine that was, active. Pink team wants some revenge, though, and all around the world, more and more countries start joining in on this. So what's left of the AN is going to tell them that, like, guys, this is a world war about to happen. Let's not do this, actually. The countries are reluctant to stop at first, but then literally every other country in the AN agrees that if they don't stop this in, like, a week, then they're probably going to invade. So if we just, just to put this in perspective, we have, like, America on the square team, India on the square team. No. Sure. Okay. India on the square team. Bangladesh on the circle. Surprisingly, no, never mind. We see Ethiopia on the circle team, which is actually kind of surprising. We see Libya. Oop, that's not right. Libya joins in on the circle team, but this is not actual Libya. It is these guys. Why? I don't know. I just wanted to do that. We see a couple more, I swear. We see Tanzania. Not on the square team. We see Tanzania joining on the circle team. Red Australia is kind of debating what to do. They go on the square team. And finally, Brazil sinks into the ocean. So, with all of this set out, pretty much every other country in the AN which isn't directly involved in this war right now is going to tell everyone to stop, or else they will invade them all. And everyone is reluctant to stop, but they do finally stop when, Tibet and China and South China all start to invade India and Bangladesh. So everyone's like, okay, we get it. So they are going to stop. World War VI lasting a total of like 2 weeks. But anyway, now we get to see the peace treaty for Rome and Dutch team and their friends. It's going to take a while to bring it back. But yes. So yeah, keep in mind that we had countries like China, South China, Mexico, Australia, South Africa, West Africa, the Mesopotamian countries, Norway, all of his guys are going to invade them if they did not. And no one, it's not like they really felt like they couldn't do it. Like, it's not like the square and circle teams thought that they were going to, like, both just get obliterated, but they just knew that this was going to be a very extremely bloody war if they did not stop. So they decided to stop. We still got to settle out all the stuff that happened in Europe. This is probably far back enough. So, first of all, rest in peace, Greece. Rome is going to have the last laugh now. They take most of the Greek land, as well as making sure to get a little connection up here to the Black Sea. And Crete is going to be getting all of their former land, as well as Thrace and the Aegean Islands. And the Farmers Union is going to get this thing. Speaking of the Farmers Union, they're going to be getting most of this country that was formerly up here, including the capital, though Rome still will get a little bit. We just kind of uncolor Germany for a second. We see, well, first of all, Rome takes this, obviously. We see that Rome is going to be taking a very considerable chunk out of Germany, all the way like this. Rome is kind of lucky with all the stuff I said at the beginning of the video, because otherwise I doubt that they would be this stable. But while everything over here, well, hold on, I forgot to change this capital to a regular major city. So obviously over here, pretty much everything went right for the Romans and pals, but it's not going to be so great over here, as we see them only lose land over here. So let's do that. First of all, Galatia is going to be getting all of this, and Andalusia will be getting all of this. We then see the return of Catalonia, which I believe is about this color. They actually might be a little bit bigger than they were before. It's kind of like a final nail in the coffin. I know that's definitely not what color they were, but just use your imagination. The Dutch team is going to secure most of Rome's land over here. Just leave Rome just bargains with them to get a tiny access to the Atlantic. I mean, technically they already have all this access to the Atlantic, but it's not like the open Atlantic. Anyway, the Dutch team is going to be getting a very nice chunk of land from Rome. And yeah, this border looks very interesting. But honestly, it might not be as bad as Rome's border from right after World War IV. So yeah. Oh, I also forgot to change this one. So yeah, in the coming years, we might see Rome, collapse again. But for now, this video is going to end here. I mean, this video is going to end here, not for now. Oh, I didn't give Catalonia a capital. So yeah, this is the end of the video. Rome and their two pals down here, they actually ended up pretty well, obviously Rome came back, so that's mostly good. Them and their allies together control like a good half of Europe now, so that's pretty great for them. So yeah, I'll see you later.